with a country of 1.2 billion people, I'm very positive that we're going to find a lot of good athletes out there if we give them enough opportunities. So I think the most important thing in India right now is to find ways to give opportunities to kids to have access to whichever sport they want.
In India, the challenge what I'm facing is, and almost every person, every player faces, is he has to balance his education and playing table tennis at a high level and also balancing studies. It's a very difficult task to pick up talent at a very young age and also to send them to foreign countries where table tennis is very famous, and also where table tennis is a national sport like China and also Sweden. If young talent from India they have an exposure that they have been sent to foreign countries, then I think definitely India will also cherish in table tennis.
The training and the hardships you go through to actually accomplish something in a sport, I think really bring out a lot of character in a person. And obviously they learn the values of hard work. They learn the values of being part of a team. Dealing with wins and losses, dealing with fears, dealing with nervousness, the jubilation after winning, the disappointment after losing, and that's just to name a few. So I think obviously, it does wonders in building character for people, and especially for kids. I think it's very important.
When we look at our country, we have huge numbers in terms of, we spend a huge amount of money economically to get us health back. And sport could play a major role in getting our health back. Apart from this, if you look at it across, I think people in our country are not as equipped to handling defeat and failure. And you see so many suicide rates, so many depressions going on because people are not sportingly accepting things like defeat in life. And sport has a huge role to play in that. Apart from this, we are a very diverse community, and the only time we come together and think of us as a nation is when we play sport. I think sport can contribute in a large way.
In swimming, the clothes you wear, the caps you have, all of them matter. That's the 0.01 seconds that can make a really big difference. I feel that sponsorships will really go a long way. And when you look at the countries like the Northeast sector, there's some really good swimmers, but they falter when it really matters because they don't have the sponsorship and they don't have the coaches and facilities to move on and become stronger every day. So I feel that our sponsoring sports people is really needed because without it, it's just our level of competition can never grow, and India is never going to become what it can be in the sports sector.
I remember when we were building this academy, and I had gone to many sponsors across our city especially and across the country. And many of them point blank said, Guppy, we don't believe that Indians could be good badminton players. That was a stage. Then many of them said our priority is in the sectors of education, girl child, health, sanitation, and sports doesn't fit into our CSR. But many of them, and I at least strongly believe, that sports has a huge role to play in our health, in our country, in terms of the community building, in terms of teamwork, in terms of pride which we can bring to the nation.
Now, finally, after many years, sports is actually becoming a viable professional option for a lot of kids. They're starting to see it more than just a recreational thing to do. So I think that's a good start because now people can start taking it seriously, which means the coaching is going to become more advanced, the facilities are going to become more advanced, infrastructure, which is only going to give our country more opportunities to do well in international sport.
There was a time about 2 years ago, I had a good run on the ITF circuit, and I reached a career high ranking of 89, and I went to play the Australian Open. But I didn't do really well, but it was a great experience, and I thought I could have gone higher after that, but due to no sponsorships and stuff like that, I couldn't really train abroad, and take myself to another level, to be able to compete in other Grand Slams and maintain my ranking or even get better throughout the year. And it was tough to make a transition from juniors to men's, as I had to improve my game a lot and to be able to compete in the pro circuit, and for that I needed to go abroad to train, and it was tough with the finances.
Sponsorship is a difficult thing in our sport, as because it's not so famous as cricket in India, and we do get sponsorship, but only when we reach up to one level. I know when a player is representing a state or is representing India. So this is a huge struggle where players who are a little bit middle class, it's very difficult for them to continue the sport for a long time.
Unless the parents can really afford spending a lot of money, the kids start losing heart because they see that the other kids from all over the world are improving, and they aren't, because they aren't having the facilities or the coaching, and so to improve as much. So they start losing heart, and we start losing people who can actually compete.
Parents are unable to sustain the kind of pressure financially they have to go through to achieve a much bigger goal. So I think that's where most of our talent is getting drained out, because of the lack of finance at a right age. I think the corporates look for some kind of mileage, and for them to get mileage at this level, I don't think it's possible that much. So unless and until the corporates have a long time goal in investing in talent at a young age, I don't think it's going to work out.
Corporates need to understand the big picture and start investing in the whole ecosystem of sport, because unless they are champions and role models, kids are not going to take up the sport. And unless we expose them to a variety of champions, I think role models, good individuals, all these things are possible because of sport.
We need to find a way to make sport accessible for kids. Make it inexpensive and make it accessible. And the more number of kids that play sport, I think obviously you're going to have a better chance to be successful in that sport. But more importantly, you're going to give a chance for all of these kids to learn and grow and kind of, just feel like they build a lot of character in their upbringing. In the urban places, it's a lot more accessible, but the key is to make it more accessible in the rural areas, and the key is to make it more accessible to people who currently don't have access to sport or organized sport. So I think having corporate help over there will be very, very huge.
Instead of looking at problems from the negative when they arise, if we have a heart attack, then we think what we need to do. If we have a communal riot, we think what we need to do. I think it's time to say that we'll play sport, and it gives us all these benefits, and probably the problems will never arise in the first place. And that's the kind of impact I'm looking at from sport. It's not a small thing. I'm thinking that sports can change the very way India is at the moment.